Millionaire Mindset. Build the Mental Habits of the Wealthy. Written and published by Mindset Masters Audiobooks. Wealth begins in the mind, long before it ever shows up in your bank account. The difference between those who stay stuck financially and those who build lasting abundance isn't just income, inheritance, or even education. It's mindset, specifically the daily mental habits that shape how they think, act, and make decisions. This audiobook is not about quick fixes or overnight riches. It's about rewiring the way you think, so you can build the kind of wealth that's stable, self-made, and deeply aligned with your highest values. We're here to develop the millionaire mindset, and that means installing the habits, beliefs, and disciplines that wealthy people live by every single day. These are not secrets, they are principles, and once you align with them, wealth stops being a mystery and starts becoming a reflection of who you are. Let's begin with the foundation, taking full ownership of your financial reality. One of the most powerful mental habits of the wealthy is radical responsibility. Wealthy people don't blame the economy, their boss, their background, or bad luck. Even when external circumstances are unfair, they respond with ownership, not victimhood. They understand this truth: you can't change what you don't claim. So if your financial life is chaotic, unclear, or underwhelming, the first step is to take full responsibility, not with shame, but with clarity. Clarity creates power. Start by asking, what are my current financial beliefs? What stories do I repeat about money? What habits do I justify that are keeping me stuck? Most people live in reaction to money. They chase it, fear it, avoid it, or waste it. But wealthy thinkers build a relationship with money. They understand it, respect it, use it as a tool, not an identity. This is your invitation to shift from financial survival to financial leadership. And leadership begins with vision. Who are you becoming financially? What kind of wealth do you want to build, and why? What does financial freedom actually look like for you, and how would it feel? Wealthy people don't just work for money. They think in systems, they think in ownership, they think in long-term value. That mindset doesn't start when you have millions. It starts the moment you commit to thinking differently. So today, let this be your new standard. I take full responsibility for my financial future. I think like a builder, not a blamer. I invest in my mindset before I invest in the market. This is the starting line of the millionaire mindset. Not a fantasy, but a framework. Not a wish, but a way. Wealth is waiting on the other side of mental discipline. To build lasting wealth, you must adopt a new lens, one that sees opportunity where others see limitation, and one that trades emotional reaction for intentional decision-making. This session is all about one of the most essential mental habits of the wealthy: long-term thinking. Most people are wired for short-term rewards. They seek comfort now, validation now, results now, even if it costs them their future. Wealthy individuals think differently. They delay gratification, they zoom out, and they make decisions based not on how something feels today, but on how it will serve them years down the road. This mental shift from short-term pleasure to long-term gain is one of the most powerful upgrades you can make. Let's be clear, this isn't just about saving money or investing. It's about how you think across every domain of your life. Wealthy thinkers are not impulsive with their time, their energy, or their attention. They understand that everything has a compounding effect. Every decision today either builds leverage for the future or steals from it. Here's the difference in mindset. Ronas, a short-term thinker, says, "What's the quickest way to make money?" A long-term thinker asks, "What's the smartest way to build something sustainable?" A short-term thinker asks, "How can I get ahead this month?" The wealthy know that anything worth building takes time. They embrace the process, not just the payoff. They understand that impatience is expensive. It leads to rushed decisions, emotional spending, and abandoned plans. So how do you cultivate long-term thinking? Start by defining a clear vision for your financial future. Wealth is not just about numbers, it's about meaning. What does freedom look like for you? What would life feel like if you weren't trading all your time for money? If you were living on your own terms, what investments would you make in yourself, your family, your health, and your mission? You need more than goals. You need a vision that excites your discipline, something that reminds you why you're saying no to what's easy now in favor of what's better later. Next, examine your current habits and ask, Nojroa, does this align with the future I'm building? Does this decision build assets or liabilities in time, money, health, or peace of mind? Am I acting from impulse or from intention? Wealthy thinkers don't just invest money, they invest attention. They're careful with their focus because they know distraction is the enemy of wealth. When you're always chasing the next thing, you never build the foundation strong enough for anything lasting. You must also develop patience with urgency. This may seem like a contradiction, but it's not. Urgency means you act now. Patience means you understand that results take time. Wealthy people combine both. They act decisively, but they think long-term. They take action every day, not because they expect immediate rewards, but because they know where those actions are taking them. So let this be your new mindset. I do not chase quick wins. I build long-term value. I delay gratification to accelerate growth. I think in decades, not just days. Because the truth is, anyone can be excited about success, but the wealthy are committed to the process even when it's slow, even when it's unseen, even when others don't understand it. This is your competitive edge. This is your mental leverage. And over time, your commitment to long-term thinking will separate you, not just financially, but in your discipline, your confidence, and your legacy. Wealth isn't a finish line, it's a way of thinking. And once you install this mindset, you don't just make money, you create a future worth living in. We've explored responsibility and long-term thinking. Now it's time to dive into one of the most important distinctions of the millionaire mindset, understanding the difference between income and wealth, and building the mental habit of asset thinking. Most people believe high income equals wealth, but the truth is, income is not the same as wealth. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what you keep, what you grow, and what works for you even when you're not working. You can earn $200,000 a year and still be broke if your lifestyle consumes it all. You can earn $50,000 a year and become wealthy if you consistently use part of that to build assets. This mindset is what separates those who merely appear successful from those who build lasting financial freedom. Wealthy individuals have trained their minds to focus on ownership, not consumption. They don't just ask, how much can I earn? They ask, how much can I retain, invest, and leverage? They live by a simple but powerful rule. Don't just work for money, make money work for you. Let's break down how asset thinking actually works. An asset is anything that puts money into your pocket or adds long-term value to your life. Assets generate income, appreciate in value, or reduce your financial dependency on active work. These include investments, stocks, real estate, businesses, intellectual property, books, courses, media, skills, high-income abilities that compound over time, systems, automated processes, or business models that earn passively. On the other hand, a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket or drains resources over time. And here's the tricky part. Many liabilities look like assets. A fancy car, a big house, or luxury clothes may look like wealth, but if they're funded by debt or depleting your savings, they're not building your future. Wealthy thinkers ask different questions before making decisions. Will this purchase create value or just status? Is this a one-time cost or something that builds long-term equity? Am I buying freedom or just feeding my ego? They aren't cheap, they're strategic. They understand that money is not meant to be hoarded or wasted. It's meant to serve a mission, and when used wisely, money multiplies. This mindset of building assets isn't just financial, it's deeply psychological. It trains you to think about return on investment in every area. Could systems friendship building emotional equity or costing me peace? Is this daily routine building mental resilience or draining me slowly? Is this habit contributing to my long-term power or stealing from it? Asset thinkers are always evaluating what brings them closer to strength, freedom, and abundance. You don't need a millionaire mindset. You must upgrade the way you think about time, not just how you spend it, but how you value, protect, and invest it. Wealthy people understand something that the average person often overlooks. Time is your most valuable asset, and how you use it determines how wealthy you'll ever become. This session is about adopting the mental habit of time-conscious decision-making, thinking like a person who understands the compound interest of focused effort. You can always make more money, you can never make more time, and yet millions of people trade hours for dollars, scroll away precious moments, and say yes to everything except their own priorities, simply because they haven't been taught how to treat their time like wealth. But the wealthy, they obsess over time. They treat it with urgency, clarity, and precision. They don't fill their days, they design them. Let's look at how they do it. 1. They know the value of an hour. Ask yourself, what is 1 hour of your time worth? Not just based on your paycheck, but based on the value it could produce if used wisely. Millionaire thinkers evaluate time like an investor evaluates money. They ask, Rona Tidiznan, is this the highest use of my time right now? Could someone else do this task better or faster, freeing me to focus on what only I can do? Is this activity moving me closer to my goals, or just keeping me busy? This is why wealthy people delegate. They outsource what doesn't require their zone of genius so they can focus on building, leading, and strategizing. They understand that time leveraged correctly creates exponential returns. 2. They operate from priorities, not pressure. While many people react to whatever feels urgent, wealthy individuals proactively choose what matters most. They build their days around high-leverage activities, those that create lasting value, generate momentum, or unlock new opportunities. If you want to think like the wealthy, start each day by identifying your top 1-3 priorities, not a to-do list of 20 tasks, but the vital few that actually move the needle. Then block out focused time for those tasks before you let anything else in. This simple shift from reactive to intentional transforms the way your time flows. 3. They use systems to buy back time. Wealthy thinkers understand that money is a tool for buying back time. They invest in systems, automation, team members, software, and resources that allow them to work on their life, not just in it. That could look like hiring someone to manage finances or daily logistics, using automation tools to handle repetitive business tasks, creating standard operating procedures to avoid repeated decisions. You may not be at that level yet, and that's okay. What matters is starting now to think like a person who values their time enough to protect it. Because when you do, you stop spending your life in low-return activities and start building leverage. 4. They guard their mental bandwidth. Wealthy people know that time is not just about the clock, it's about focus. If your mind is fragmented, your productivity suffers. If you're constantly checking your phone, jumping between tasks, or consumed with anxiety, your most powerful tool, attention, is being wasted. So they protect their mental energy. They batch tasks instead of multitasking. They set boundaries around their mornings and evenings. They reduce decision fatigue by simplifying routines. They prioritize rest, nutrition, and environment, because a sharp mind builds sharper results. They know that even 60 minutes of pure focus can outperform an entire distracted day. 5. They think in years, not just hours. Millionaires don't just think about how they spend time today. They think about the long-term implications. They ask promptly, is what I'm doing today aligned with who I want to be in 5 years? Am I spending my time the way a future millionaire version of me would? They are willing to sacrifice temporary comfort for lasting freedom. They don't waste weekends if it means they can buy back decades of financial stress. They don't chase shortcuts. They build systems that take time but produce long-term results. Final shift. You are already investing time. Every day, whether consciously or unconsciously, you are investing your time into something. The question is, what's the return? Is your time creating assets, deepening skill sets, building networks, expanding your influence, or is it being drained by distraction, obligation, and unaligned habits? Let this become your mindset. I treat my time like currency because every hour is an investment in my future. I don't just spend time, I multiply it through focus and alignment. I protect my time because I respect my potential. You don't need $1 million to think like a millionaire. You just need to value what matters most, and time is at the top of that list. Wealthy people win because they don't just work harder, they use time better, and so can you. To truly unlock the millionaire mindset, you must reshape your relationship with one of the most misunderstood forces in personal growth and wealth building, failure. This session is about cultivating the mental habit of resilience through failure, the ability to face setbacks, mistakes, and rejection, not as evidence of defeat, but as fuel for long-term success. Here's the truth. Every wealthy person you admire has failed more times than most people have even attempted. The difference is not that they avoid failure, it's that they have learned how to extract value from it. They see it, study it, and grow from it. To think like a millionaire, you must stop fearing failure and start using it strategically. 1. Wealthy people redefine failure. The average person views failure as personal. I failed, therefore I'm not good enough. I made a mistake, therefore I'm not cut out for this. They internalize setbacks and shrink in response. Millionaire thinkers, they see failure as feedback. They separate identity from performance. If something didn't work, they ask, what did I learn? What's the data telling me? How can I improve next time? They don't take it personally. They take it professionally. They know every failure is a lesson in disguise. They also know that success is never a straight line. It's a loop of trial, error, correction, and iteration. This mental reframe allows them to fail forward, to fall and keep building momentum. 2. They build emotional tolerance for discomfort. Most people avoid risk because they're afraid of how it will feel to lose. Wealthy individuals have trained themselves to stay calm in discomfort. They understand that pain is part of progress. They've normalized rejection, embarrassment, and frustration, not because they enjoy it, but because they refuse to be controlled by it. This emotional toughness is a competitive advantage. It allows them to launch ideas without needing immediate validation, make bold financial decisions with strategic confidence, persist in the face of uncertainty, learn new skills even when they're uncomfortable. If you want to think like a millionaire, you must stretch your emotional tolerance. Begin by exposing yourself to discomfort deliberately. Take a risk, make a call, start the project, face the fear. Every time you act despite discomfort, you train your nervous system to see failure as safe and eventually as essential. When something doesn't go as planned, they don't throw it all away. They dissect it. They ask, what part of this process worked? What didn't? Was it the timing, the strategy, or the execution? What will I do differently next time, and why? This analytical approach allows them to fail efficiently. Instead of getting stuck in the same loop, they evolve. Every setback sharpens their system. Compare this to the average person who fails and simply stops, or worse, avoids trying in the future. That kind of mental pattern traps people in cycles of fear, comfort, and stagnation. But those with a millionaire mindset see each failure as part of the design, not a detour, but the process of building something real. 4. They normalize risk and decision-making. Another key habit: wealthy individuals make decisions quickly and adjust slowly. They don't sit on the sidelines waiting for perfect clarity. They know that momentum matters more than certainty. Because of this, they develop what's called a bias toward action. While others wait for the right time, they take the first step. And yes, sometimes it fails, but because they're not afraid of failure, they learn faster, adjust earlier, and grow stronger. Millionaire thinkers don't aim to avoid mistakes. They aim to make new ones, not the same ones over and over. That's evolution. That's growth. 5. They build identity through endurance. Here's the deeper truth. Failure is what builds your internal credibility. Every time you get back up after a loss, you prove something to yourself. You prove that you're not fragile, that you are adaptable, that you are committed to your vision, not just when it's easy, but when it's inconvenient. Over time, this becomes a defining part of your identity. I am someone who can't be broken by failure. I am someone who uses setbacks to grow. I am someone who rises. This is what separates dreamers from builders. Not just knowledge, not even strategy, but the mental strength to keep moving forward no matter how many times you fall. Your new habit: lean into failure. Going forward, adopt this mental posture. I don't fear failure, I use it. I am stronger than the temporary discomfort of a mistake. Every setback contains a lesson, and every lesson compounds. Start seeing failure not as the end of the road, but as a turn toward your evolution. The millionaire mindset is not about never falling. It's about falling, learning, adapting, and showing up smarter every time. One of the most powerful habits of the wealthy is something that often goes unnoticed, but it affects every decision they make, every room they enter, and every level they rise to. It is the mental habit of self-belief. This session is about developing unshakable self-worth, the internal foundation that allows you to think big, act boldly, and pursue wealth with confidence and clarity. Because here's the truth: the world will only value you to the degree that you value yourself. You may have the strategy, the work ethic, the ideas, the opportunities, but without deep internal belief in your own worth, you will always undercharge, underperform, and undervalue your potential. Wealthy individuals believe in their value, not because they were born confident, but because they've trained their minds to honor their power, even when no one else does. Let's break down how this belief system is developed and maintained. The average person waits for permission. They wait for validation, applause, or someone more qualified to tell them it's okay to go for it. Wealthy individuals don't wait, they decide. They give themselves permission to succeed, to try, to ask for more, to be seen, to be paid, to be respected, and that self-permission becomes the spark that ignites their forward motion. If you want to build wealth, you have to stop shrinking, stop apologizing for your ambitions, stop making your goals smaller so others feel comfortable, stop negotiating with your dreams because of past failures or present fears. Instead, speak to yourself like a leader. I give myself permission to build wealth. I give myself permission to think big. I give myself permission to win. This kind of self-talk isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It means you're choosing to back your vision with belief. 2. They don't outsource their worth. Millionaire thinkers don't rely on external praise to feel worthy. They appreciate feedback, but their identity isn't built on it. This gives them stability when things go quiet, when no one is watching, applauding, or believing yet. They've trained themselves to self-source their confidence. This is essential in wealth building because there will be seasons where no one understands your path. There will be months of effort without reward, years of work behind the scenes, and moments where your only fuel is the belief that it will pay off. If your self-worth is tied to instant results, you'll quit too soon. But if your self-worth is rooted in purpose and principle, you'll stay the course. Build the habit of affirming your value daily, not based on your results, but based on your commitment. Not based on how others see you, but based on how you carry yourself, even when they don't. 3. They charge based on value, not insecurity. Whether in business, career, or negotiation, wealthy people don't undervalue their time, skill, or ideas. Why? Because they know the market responds to confidence. They price with intention, they ask boldly, they expect to be compensated in alignment with the value they provide. This doesn't mean being greedy, it means being clear. They've done the work, they bring results, they've trained their minds to understand the difference between modesty and playing small. You don't become wealthy by underestimating yourself, you become wealthy by backing yourself with precision. If you struggle with this, start by asking, what result do I help people achieve? How much time, energy, and mastery have I invested in this? What would I pay someone else for the same result? The answers will reframe how you price your work and how you present yourself. 4. They build identity first, then action. Most people believe they need success first, then they'll feel confident. Millionaire thinkers know the opposite is true. Identity precedes outcomes. They decide who they are, then act accordingly. I am a builder of wealth. I am someone who makes strong financial decisions. I am a person who honors their time and value. And they live that identity even before the external proof shows up. Why does this work? Because your brain will always try to behave in a way that's consistent with who you believe you are. Once you shift your identity, your habits, decisions, and standards rise to meet it. So if you want to grow your income, grow your internal image first. 5. They heal their relationship with money and success. Many people subconsciously sabotage wealth because they carry internal beliefs like, if I succeed, people will judge me. If I charge more, I'm greedy. If I get wealthy, I'll lose relationships or values. These beliefs create conflict. They block success. They whisper that wealth isn't safe or that it makes you a bad person. Wealthy people do the internal work to challenge these stories. They rewire their beliefs so that success feels safe, money feels empowering, and wealth feels aligned with their mission. This is deep work. It requires awareness, honesty, and repetition. But once done, it clears the mental resistance that holds most people back. Your new standard of belief. Let this session leave you with a higher standard. Starting today, I believe in the value I bring. I charge based on value, not fear. I lead with internal confidence, not external permission. My self-worth is the foundation of my financial worth. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You don't need anyone else to approve. You are already enough. Now act like it, because the millionaire mindset begins the moment you decide, I am worthy of building wealth, and I will act like it, daily. The journey to wealth isn't just about what you do, it's also about what you unlearn. One of the most critical mindset habits of the wealthy is their ability to guard their environment, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and socially. In this session, we explore how to curate a growth environment, one that supports your financial goals, elevates your standards, and accelerates your success. Because no matter how motivated you are, if you're constantly surrounded by limiting beliefs, small thinking, or scarcity conversations, you will eventually shrink to fit your surroundings. Wealthy people understand a powerful truth. Environment shapes identity. It influences how you think, what you believe is possible, how you see yourself, and the decisions you make, often without even realizing it. Let's break this down. 1. Wealthy people audit their circle relentlessly. There is a simple principle that shapes high net worth individuals. Proximity is power. You rise or fall to the level of the people around you. The wealthy choose their inner circle carefully. They don't tolerate energy-draining relationships, chronic complainers, or people addicted to excuses. They spend time with action takers, problem solvers, visionaries, people who talk solutions, set goals, and move forward. This isn't arrogance, it's strategy, because energy is contagious, and so is mediocrity. Ask yourself, who are the 5 people I spend the most time with? Do they challenge me, inspire me, or drain me? Are their habits and standards aligned with where I'm going? If the answer is no, it's time to create space. Not with anger, with clarity. You can love people without allowing their mindset to shape your own. Protect your goals by protecting your energy. 2. They design spaces that reflect their intentions. Wealthy individuals don't wait for the perfect environment. They create it. They're intentional about their home, their workspace, even the digital content they consume. Every detail is curated to support focus, inspiration, and peace of mind. Why? Because clutter breeds distraction, chaos breeds fatigue, and when your environment is out of alignment, so is your productivity. Start small, clean and organize your work area. Create a financial dashboard you review weekly. Design morning and evening routines that ground you. Remove visual reminders of procrastination and disorder. When you elevate your space, you elevate your behavior. Your surroundings begin to remind you of your standards, not your stress. 3. They consume information that elevates thinking. Millionaire thinkers don't leave their mindset up to chance. They read, they listen, they learn, constantly. They fill their mental environment with books, mentors, and teachings that stretch their perspective, not entertainment that numbs them. This is the opposite of mindless scrolling, binge-watching, or gossip-driven conversations. Wealthy people are addicted to insight, not distraction. They understand that if you feed your brain junk, your results will be junk. So instead, they make it a habit to be chuffed around, read at least 10-30 minutes daily, listen to audiobooks, podcasts, or courses while commuting or working out, stay around conversations that normalize excellence and growth. Remember, every input is shaping your identity. Choose wisely. It's not just about people and places. Wealthy individuals also manage the emotional environments they operate within. They regulate their own internal state and make conscious decisions about what they allow to influence their peace. They set boundaries. They don't absorb negativity. They don't participate in drama. They understand that emotional energy is currency, and they protect it like they protect their money. You can adopt this mindset by saying no to conversations that leave you feeling small or anxious, limiting your exposure to toxic news cycles or social media debates, meditating, journaling, or reflecting regularly to process stress and stay aligned. Protecting your emotional space isn't weak, it's how you stay mentally sharp and strategically focused. 5. They normalize wealth in their environment. If you're always surrounded by people who fear money, hate the rich, or believe success is unethical, you will unconsciously feel guilty for wanting more. Wealthy people intentionally normalize abundance. They spend time around others who talk openly about building assets, creating impact, scaling income, and living with purpose. This doesn't mean pretending or posturing. It means making wealth-building conversations part of your daily life. Start doing the same. Talk about money openly with those who are also on the journey. Join communities, masterminds, or groups where growth is celebrated. Follow and learn from people who inspire, not just entertain. Normalize wealth, and wealth will begin to feel like a natural outcome of who you are, not a rare exception. Your growth environment is your responsibility. You don't need perfect conditions to build wealth, but you do need to be intentional. I design my environment to reflect my goals. I choose connections that elevate, not drain. I protect my focus, peace, and standards. I normalize wealth in every space I enter. You may not control everything around you, but you do control what you tolerate, what you create, and what you seek out. Wealthy people build empires on the inside first, and that empire begins with the space they choose to grow within. Guard your environment, elevate your circle, curate your inputs, because where you grow will determine how far you go.
The millionaire mindset is built on strategy, not just in how you earn money, but in how you think about it. If you want to become wealthy, one of the most important mental habits you must develop is financial clarity. Wealthy people know where their money is, what it's doing, and why it's working for them. They don't guess, they don't hope, they don't ignore reality. In this session, we'll dive into how millionaire thinkers create financial clarity and control, and why this is a non-negotiable foundation for anyone who wants to build long-term wealth. Let's be clear from the beginning. Financial clarity is not just about budgeting. It's about power. It's about decision-making. It's about understanding your numbers so well that they no longer create anxiety, they create strategy. The average person avoids looking at their bank account. They're afraid of what they'll see or not see. But wealthy individuals understand that clarity is the first step to control. You cannot change what you avoid, and you cannot grow what you don't measure. Millionaire thinkers make it a habit to regularly review their pre-lucust, total income, monthly expenses, investment performance, net worth, cash flow trends, debt obligations, and interest rates. They don't wait until there's a problem. They stay aware, they stay informed, they face the truth, not because it's always pretty, but because it's the foundation of strategy. Even if your numbers today feel messy, unclear, or discouraging, facing them is the most empowering thing you can do. It turns stress into data, and data becomes direction. 2. They track and optimize cash flow. Wealthy individuals don't just track what comes in and what goes out, they optimize it. They ask, where is my money leaking? Where is my money multiplying?
which expenses are producing value and which are just noise. This goes beyond budgeting for the sake of restriction. This is proactive money management. It's about making sure every dollar you earn has a job, whether that's to pay for something, build something, or grow something. One of the most powerful habits you can build today is assigning purpose to your income. A set percentage for wealth building, investments, savings, assets, a percentage for growth, education, tools, coaching, a percentage for lifestyle, living well, not recklessly, a percentage for giving or legacy, if aligned with your values. When your money has structure, your decisions become sharper, you reduce emotional spending, you stop drifting, and you start building with intention. 3. They separate emotion from numbers. Wealthy people don't let emotions drive their money decisions. They may feel fear, excitement, or pressure, but they train themselves to make decisions based on logic, principle, and long-term strategy. They understand that money is a tool, not a measure of identity or self-worth. That's why they're able to cut losses when an investment isn't working, delay gratification for bigger returns, resist panic when markets shift, say no to things that don't align with their goals, even when they're tempting. When you master emotional regulation around money, you move from being reactive to being responsible. You stop making money decisions from a place of insecurity and start making them from a place of power. This is why many wealthy individuals say their best investment wasn't a stock or property, it was learning how to manage their emotions around money. Clarity is not just about tracking numbers, it's also about knowing what you're building and why. Millionaire thinkers don't just want more money for the sake of it. They have a purpose, a target, a roadmap. They define success clearly. Ask yourself, what does financial freedom mean to me? How much do I need monthly to live fully on my terms? What assets do I want to own? What income streams do I want to build? What legacy do I want to leave behind? With a clear vision, you stop chasing money randomly and start designing a path intentionally. You're no longer just trying to make more. You're engineering wealth based on a blueprint. This clarity allows you to filter decisions. Does this expense, opportunity, or investment move me closer to or further from my vision? That single question can save and earn you thousands. 5. They automate and systemize wealth building. Once wealthy individuals have clarity, they don't leave things to chance. They build systems around their money. They automate contributions to investment accounts, emergency savings, debt payments, tax withholdings, business reinvestments. Why? Because discipline is easier when it's built into the system. They remove friction, they remove guesswork, they make wealth the default setting, not just a distant goal. You can start doing this at any level. Automate a small amount into savings or a brokerage account. Set recurring calendar reminders to review your finances weekly. Use tools or spreadsheets to track your goals visually. The habit matters more than the amount. Your financial clarity blueprint. To develop financial clarity, begin practicing these weekly habits. Drony counts, Connor Crowmuffin, your Tolq goals, short, medium, and long-term. Update your net worth tracker. Even if it's small today, it's the scoreboard that keeps you focused. Audit your spending, highlight waste, and celebrate alignment. Make one proactive move. Even a small transfer to savings is a signal of intent. Say to yourself, I face my finances with clarity and power. I track, plan, and decide from logic, not fear. I build wealth with awareness and intention. Money serves my mission because I lead it well. You don't need to be a financial expert to be financially powerful. You just need the discipline to see clearly, act wisely, and repeat consistently. Because wealth doesn't come from what you earn, it comes from what you manage, with vision, structure, and self-leadership. There is one mindset shift that every self-made millionaire eventually makes, a shift from effort alone to leverage and scalability. This is what we explore in this session, the mental habit of thinking in systems, not just sweat. Most people believe that to earn more they have to work more, that the path to wealth is paved with more hours, more hustle, more grind. But the wealthy think differently. They understand that money doesn't just come from effort, it comes from leverage. Leverage is the ability to achieve greater results with less effort by multiplying your impact through people, technology, systems, platforms, and intellectual capital. Let's explore what that means in practice. 1. They trade time for value, not hours. The average person earns based on time. They are paid hourly, salaried, or per job, and they hit a ceiling because there are only so many hours in a day. Wealthy individuals shift away from trading time and toward creating value-generating systems. They ask, can I earn while I sleep? How can I solve a problem once and get paid multiple times? How can I replace manual effort with automation or delegation? This might look like creating an online course instead of one-on-one coaching, investing in rental properties that generate monthly income, building a team that delivers services on your behalf, writing a book that earns royalties long after it's written. This mindset upgrade takes you out of the labor economy and into the leverage economy. Effort is important, but wealth is created when your effort becomes scalable. 2. They systemize the repeatable. Millionaire thinkers are obsessed with efficiency. They don't solve the same problem twice. If something needs to be done more than once, they turn it into a process, a checklist or a system. Why? Because systems reduce mental fatigue, save time and money, produce consistent results, allow others to step in and execute. Whether in business or in personal finance, systems create freedom. They help you scale your thinking so you don't have to be everywhere, doing everything. You don't need to wait until you're rich to start using this habit. Start simple. Brunar economy. Build a workflow for how you manage bills, finances, or content. Create email templates or communication systems. Use apps to automate savings, scheduling, or customer outreach. Every system you build buys you time, and time is the seed of wealth. 3. They use other people's skills to multiply impact. Here's a truth that keeps many people poor: the belief that I have to do it all myself. Millionaire thinkers understand that wealth is built collaboratively. They invest in talent, mentorship, and partnerships. They hire people smarter than them in specific areas. They delegate tasks that drain their time and energy, not because they can't do them, but because they value their focus too much to waste it. They ask, what is the best use of my mind? What tasks keep me stuck in maintenance, not creation? What roles or services could free me to scale? This shift requires humility and clarity. It requires letting go of control and embracing leadership over labor. You may not be ready to hire full-time help, but start with this question: what would I do if I had 5 extra hours a week? Then ask, what small delegation or automation could give me those hours back? That's how the wealthy begin. They buy back their time first, then use that time to build income-producing systems. 4. They build platforms, not just products. Wealthy individuals don't just sell one-off services or items. They build platforms, environments where value can be delivered to many, repeatedly, and with scale. Think about it. A YouTube creator builds a platform that earns through views, sponsorships, and digital products. A software developer builds a platform others depend on and pay for monthly. A real estate investor builds a portfolio, a platform of passive income. An author builds an intellectual platform that can grow a global audience. Platforms are powerful because they separate your income from your physical presence. They allow you to multiply value without multiplying your time. Ask yourself, what platform can I begin building today? Where can I shift from being a consumer to being a creator? How can I scale what I already know or do? You don't need to be famous or wealthy to start. You just need to commit to long-term leverage. 5. They think expansion, not maintenance. The average mindset is reactive. It focuses on keeping things afloat. The millionaire mindset is expansive. It constantly looks for how to grow, improve, and scale. They ask questions like, how can this be done 10x faster? What would this look like if it were automated? What needs to happen for this to run without me? This isn't laziness, it's leadership. It's designing life and work in a way that frees you to focus on vision, not just operations. Wealthy individuals aren't addicted to being busy. They're committed to being effective. Your new mental habit: think in systems and scale. Here's your mindset shift going forward. I do not trade all my time for money. I build systems that multiply my value. I delegate to scale. I automate to accelerate. I create platforms that outlive my presence. I think in leverage, because wealth is not earned alone. You don't need to be a tech wizard or a CEO to start this. You just need to think bigger. Start looking at every part of your life and asking, how can this be simplified, scaled, or automated? This is how you transition from being a hard worker to being a wealth builder, because true financial freedom comes when you're no longer the engine, but the architect of the machine.
A critical habit of the millionaire mind is one that operates beneath the surface of every success story. It's not flashy, it's not always public, but it's one of the greatest wealth-building forces of all time: consistency. In this session, we explore how wealthy individuals master the mental habit of showing up with discipline day after day, even when motivation fades, even when results are slow, and even when the world isn't clapping. Because here's a timeless truth: consistency creates what intensity cannot sustain. You don't need a viral moment. You don't need overnight success. You need to learn how to be relentlessly consistent with the habits, decisions, and standards that move you forward. This is how average becomes excellent. This is how goals become legacies.
Let's look at how wealthy people build the kind of consistency that compounds into freedom. The average person relies on how they feel to determine what they do. I'm not in the mood to review my finances. I'm tired, so I'll skip the habit. But millionaire thinkers operate from systems, not emotion. They've built routines, rituals, and standards that run regardless of how they feel, because they know feelings are fleeting, but systems create momentum. They treat their calendar like a contract. They batch their time, protect their focus, and honor the process. They understand that consistency isn't just about effort. It's about engineering your environment and behavior to support long-term execution. If you want to stay consistent, stop negotiating with your goals, build habits that remove decision fatigue, create systems that make the right choice the easy choice. They understand the power of compound growth, not just financially, but in skills, reputation, habits, and opportunity. While the average person chases instant results, wealthy individuals plant seeds and water them patiently. They know one great decision won't make you rich, one workout won't make you fit, one blog post won't make you famous, one investment won't change your life, but 100, 1,000, done with intention and consistency, that's unstoppable. They trust the invisible work. They believe in quiet effort. They show up daily with the mindset that today's consistency is tomorrow's breakthrough. That's the habit. They show up like it's working before it shows results. 3. They track, measure, and refine. Consistency isn't just about repetition, it's about refinement. Millionaire thinkers don't blindly do the same thing over and over. They track progress, measure outcomes, and improve their systems. They ask, Ron, what's working? What's working? Where am I slipping? How can I make this habit easier to sustain? What small improvement would yield a better return? They treat consistency like a craft, not a chore. They analyze it like an investor evaluates a portfolio, always optimizing, always adjusting. To adopt this yourself, Kom in Draken 3. Review your key goals weekly. Use simple metrics to guide your decisions. Celebrate progress no matter how small, because small wins repeated often will eventually dwarf occasional big efforts. 4. They build identity around discipline. One of the secrets of consistent action, identity. Wealthy people don't just do disciplined things, they see themselves as disciplined people. They say, this is just who I am. I follow through. I keep promises to myself. I don't skip on my goals. I live by them. And because that identity is strong, the habits stick. If you want to become consistent, start calling yourself consistent. Affirm it. Embody it. Build rituals that support it. Then protect that identity with your choices. The brain loves consistency not just in action, but in self-perception. So when you build a self-image that says, I am a disciplined person, your behavior rises to match it. They've learned that motivation follows movement, not the other way around. They start the workout before they feel like it. They open the laptop before the perfect idea hits. They make the call even when their confidence is shaky. Why? Because they know that action creates energy, and over time, consistent action builds confidence, clarity, and capability. To think like the wealthy, reverse your relationship with motivation. Don't wait to feel ready. Start now. Let the act of doing generate the motivation you thought you needed. This mindset gives you the freedom to stop depending on feelings and start building momentum on command, your new standard of consistency. Here's the truth. You don't need to be extraordinary. You don't need to be the smartest in the room. You just need to be consistent longer than others are willing to be. I follow through on what I start. I build systems that support my goals. I trust the compound power of small daily action. I lead with consistency, not emotion. You can build your dream life one consistent action at a time, and if you stay loyal to the process, the results will be inevitable, because the difference between those who try and those who win is consistency. One of the most misunderstood truths about wealth is that it's not just about making more, it's about making smarter decisions. At the core of millionaire thinking lies the habit of strategic decision-making, the ability to act with clarity, courage, and conviction, even under pressure. In this session, we explore how wealthy individuals approach decisions differently than the average person. They don't act impulsively, and they don't get paralyzed by overthinking. Instead, they build a mental framework that allows them to decide faster, wiser, and with less emotional cost. Because wealth doesn't just come from how much you work, it comes from the quality of your choices. Decisions compound, and the most successful people treat decisions like assets. They analyze, optimize, and learn from every one of them. Let's break this habit down. 1. They decide with purpose, not pressure. Millionaire thinkers do not make decisions reactively. They pause, they assess, and most importantly, they connect the decision to their vision. Does this align with the person I'm becoming? Does this move me closer to my long-term goal, or is it just noise? Am I doing this to avoid discomfort or to create growth? In contrast, the average person often chooses based on urgency, peer pressure, or fear of missing out. The result: distracted paths, wasted time, and decisions that lead to regret. Wealthy people reverse this. Their decisions are value-driven, not noise-driven. They operate from clarity, not chaos. You can begin doing the same. Before making any major decision, whether financial, professional, or personal, ask, does this expand my vision or dilute it? When you start filtering choices through intention, everything becomes sharper. 2. They don't fear mistakes. They manage risk. One of the reasons many people freeze when it's time to decide is fear. Fear of being wrong, fear of making a mistake, fear of losing what they've built. Millionaire thinkers understand that mistakes are data, not disasters. They don't fear risk. They manage it. They gather information, consult mentors, weigh costs, and then act decisively. They understand the difference between calculated risk and reckless gambling. They also know that indecision is more expensive than most mistakes. Waiting too long can cost you opportunities, time, and momentum. That's why they build the habit of deciding quickly when the data supports it and adjusting course without shame if needed. Success isn't about getting every choice right. It's about making enough right decisions over time, learning from the wrong ones, and maintaining momentum. 3. They use principles to simplify complex choices. Wealthy individuals don't approach every decision from scratch. They develop mental models and personal principles, guidelines that help them choose faster and more consistently. Some examples: never invest in something I don't understand. What it costs me peace, it's too expensive. Only say yes to opportunities that align with my top priorities. If the upside is exponential and the downside is limited, say yes. These decision-making frameworks act like filters. They reduce fatigue. They eliminate noise. They allow you to lead your life with clarity instead of confusion. You can start developing your own decision principles by reflecting on your past mistakes and successes. What patterns do you see? What rules would have saved you time, energy, or money? Write them down, keep them close, use them often. This is how you become a strategist, not just a responder. 4. They consider the opportunity cost of every choice. Millionaire thinkers understand that every choice has a cost, not just in money, but in time, energy, and attention. Saying yes to one thing is automatically saying no to something else. They constantly ask, what is this decision costing me that I can't see? If I say yes to this, what am I saying no to? Is this the highest value use of my time and focus right now? This is how they protect their time from distractions disguised as opportunities. They stay focused on what really matters and invest their decision-making capital wisely. You don't need a fortune to apply this. Just practice being more mindful. Is this a good use of my limited energy? What result will this decision actually produce? Am I avoiding a harder, better choice by taking this easier one? The more you weigh your time and focus like you weigh your money, the faster your wealth grows. 5. They build the confidence to decide alone. Wealthy individuals welcome advice, but they don't depend on approval. They're comfortable making high-stakes decisions even when others don't understand or agree. That's because they trust their judgment, and they've earned that trust through practice, discipline, and integrity. They don't crowdsource every decision. They don't wait until no one disagrees. They lead themselves, even when it's unpopular. This is where true mental wealth begins, the ability to stand by your principles even when no one else can see your vision. You can begin developing this confidence by keeping small promises to yourself, reflecting on what you truly want, and being willing to disappoint others in order to stay true to your path. Because wealth doesn't just come from saying yes to the right things. It also comes from saying no, firmly, clearly, and unapologetically. Your strategic decision-making mindset. Let this session anchor a new belief about how you move through life. I lead with clarity, not confusion. I decide based on principles and purpose. I don't chase perfection. I pursue progress. I trust my judgment, and I own my outcomes. Every wise decision compounds into greater freedom. You do not need to rush. You do not need to be perfect. But you do need to be clear, committed, and courageous, because in the game of wealth, decisions are the levers that shift everything. And when you think like a millionaire, every decision becomes a step toward the life you're building, not the one you're escaping.
There's a powerful habit that quietly fuels the lives of high-net-worth individuals, one that's often underestimated but absolutely foundational to lasting success: resilience. Wealthy individuals don't just know how to win. They know how to recover, adapt, and keep moving forward when life throws punches, because it always does. In this session, we're going to uncover how millionaire thinkers handle setbacks, rejection, criticism, and uncertainty, because no matter how strategic, consistent, or disciplined you are, you will face obstacles.
What separates the wealthy isn't the absence of failure, it's their relationship with it. They've trained their minds to bounce back faster, learn deeper, and rise stronger. This is resilience, not as a personality trait, but as a mental habit they build and refine over time. Let's break it down. 1. They see failure as feedback, not identity. One of the greatest mental strengths of the wealthy is their ability to separate outcomes from self-worth. The average person experiences a failure and immediately ties it to who they are. I failed, so I must not be good enough. This didn't work, so maybe I should stop trying. They rejected me, so I must not have what it takes. Millionaire thinkers do the opposite. They say, that didn't work. What can I learn? This strategy failed. Let's refine it. That door closed. What's the next move? They remove shame from the process. They don't internalize setbacks. They know that failing at something doesn't make you a failure, it makes you engaged in the process of mastery. Wealth is built by those who are willing to be imperfect on the path to excellence. 2. They don't let emotion override execution. Wealthy individuals are emotionally intelligent, not emotionally reactive. When things go wrong, they feel it, but they don't drown in it. They don't spiral into panic, victimhood, or blame. Instead, they regulate their emotions, protect their focus, and stay committed to action. This doesn't mean they're robotic. It means they've trained themselves to wandvak, pause and breathe through discomfort, seek clarity before reacting, ask what is within my control right now, move forward, even in small steps. Resilience doesn't mean never feeling discouraged. It means you don't let discouragement dictate your decisions. The wealthy learn how to be steady, especially when the world is shaking. That inner calm becomes their competitive advantage. 3. They build recovery systems into their life. Resilience isn't just about surviving the storm, it's about how quickly you return to center afterward. Millionaire thinkers know that energy management is just as important as time management. They create habits and routines that allow them to recharge, reset, and refocus quickly. These include daily movement or exercise to release stress, morning routines that create grounding and direction, mindfulness practices like journaling or meditation, disconnecting from digital noise to regain clarity, getting quality sleep and protecting mental health. They don't wait until burnout to take care of themselves. They understand that resilience is built in the spaces between the challenges, in the way you treat your mind, body, and energy day to day. To grow your resilience, ask what routines help me reset? What drains me unnecessarily? How can I build strength before the next challenge hits? The best time to prepare for pressure is before it arrives. 4. They adapt, instead of stagnate. The world changes fast, markets shift, technology evolves, business models get disrupted. The average person resists change. They get stuck in old methods. They cling to what used to work. But millionaire thinkers stay adaptive. They are students of reality. They observe, adjust, and innovate constantly. Instead of fighting the tide, they learn how to ride it. They think, what's the new opportunity hidden inside this obstacle? Because of this, they often emerge from crises even stronger than before. They see every setback as an invitation to upgrade their strategy or evolve their identity. They don't fear reinvention, they embrace it. 5. They stay grounded in purpose. Here's the secret to unshakable resilience: purpose. Millionaire thinkers are not just driven by money, they're anchored by meaning. They have a vision that's bigger than the problems they face. When challenges arise, they don't give up because what they're working toward matters. Purpose gives you endurance. It reminds you why you started. It pulls you through seasons when motivation disappears. It turns setbacks into sacred ground, the space where your mission is tested and refined. Ask yourself, what is all this effort really for? What kind of life am I building, and who am I becoming in the process? Wealthy people always know the answer, and because they do, they don't quit when it's hard. They endure, adjust, and rise. Your new resilience blueprint. As you strengthen your mindset, let these declarations guide you. I bounce back stronger, not bitter. I treat failure as feedback, not identity. I manage my energy so I can lead through pressure. I evolve when challenged, and I grow through resistance. My purpose is bigger than my problems. Resilience is not built in comfort, it's built in consistency, during the hard moments that test your resolve. And the more resilient you become, the more powerful your wealth-building journey becomes, because no setback can hold down someone who has already decided to rise. At a certain point on the path to wealth, the game becomes less about tactics and more about identity. That's the focus of this session: how millionaire thinkers form, strengthen and protect a powerful self-image that aligns with abundance, leadership and long-term success. Because no matter how strategic your goals are, you'll only rise as far as you see yourself going. Here's the truth: you will never outperform your identity. You will never build what your self-concept doesn't allow you to believe you deserve. This is why so many people self-sabotage after financial wins. It's why many plateau, even with talent or opportunity. It's not a lack of skill, it's a lack of inner alignment. Millionaire minds are built from the inside out. They craft an identity that can hold success, not just chase it. Let's explore how. 1. They see themselves as wealth builders before the wealth arrives. One of the most powerful habits of wealthy individuals is their ability to think from the identity of a millionaire long before they have the money to prove it. This doesn't mean pretending or being fake. It means behaving in a way that reflects the mindset, discipline and values of someone who has already created abundance. They ask themselves, what would the wealthy version of me do in this moment? How would I act, speak, plan and carry myself if I already had financial freedom? What decisions would that version of me make today? This mental alignment creates a shift in behavior. It changes how you treat your time, your money, your health, your relationships, because you're living from your future identity instead of your past limitations. The more you embody the mindset now, the faster the reality catches up. Millionaire thinkers are intentional with how they talk about themselves. They avoid labeling themselves with language that reinforces scarcity or low standards. They don't say, "I'm just bad with money. I'm not the kind of person who can invest. I've always been impulsive. That's just how I am. I could never charge that much. People like me don't get rich." Why? Because your words are instructions to your subconscious mind. Instead, they practice empowering language like, "I'm learning to manage money wisely. I'm developing millionaire-level discipline. I'm building the habits of someone who creates wealth. I honor my worth and value." They use their voice to shape their self-concept, not shrink it. They understand that beliefs aren't inherited. They're built, tested and chosen. And they choose beliefs that support expansion. Wealthy individuals don't just have high standards, they protect them. They don't tolerate what lowers their energy, delays their progress or insults their identity. They say no to underpricing, to toxic relationships, to procrastination, to environments that dim their focus, because every time you accept less than you deserve, you reinforce the idea that you're not ready for more. Millionaire thinkers raise their standards, not out of ego, but out of alignment with who they're becoming. They live within inner boundaries like Kreidel. "I don't negotiate with my discipline. I keep promises to myself. I don't chase, I attract by becoming. I don't shrink to fit rooms that don't reflect my future." This fierce alignment with self-worth is what helps them build lasting, scalable wealth. We all have subconscious stories from our upbringing, culture, or past experiences, stories that influence how we view money, success, and identity. Millionaire minds do the inner work to question and reprogram those stories. They ask Kreidel, "Where did this belief come from? Is this idea serving me or sabotaging me? What would someone with a wealth mindset believe instead?" They read, they reflect, they hire coaches, they go to therapy, they journal. They upgrade their mental software just like they would their phone. This self-reflection becomes part of their routine, not just a one-time breakthrough. They understand that true transformation is not just external, it's internal first, and they take full responsibility for writing a new story, one that supports their rise. 5. They visualize the future with precision. The wealthiest individuals in the world have a crystal-clear picture of their desired future. They visualize it, they speak it, they feel it, and most importantly, they live in alignment with it. They don't just have dreams, they have details: where they live, what their schedule looks like, how they feel when they wake up, what kind of decisions they make, what impact they're creating. This level of clarity creates emotional alignment, and emotional alignment is what keeps them moving forward through resistance, setbacks, and uncertainty. Visualization isn't fantasy, it's mental rehearsal for a reality you're building. When you can see it, you begin to believe it, and when you believe it, you behave differently, which is what brings it into reality. Identity before income. Here's what separates those who grow their wealth from those who stay stuck. One group waits to feel like a millionaire after the money shows up. The other group becomes the millionaire in identity, long before it's obvious. And that internal shift changes everything. As you continue building your mindset, speak these truths over yourself. "I am a builder of wealth in mindset and action. I behave in alignment with my future identity. I protect my energy, my focus, and my standards. I don't shrink, I expand. Every choice I make reflects who I am becoming." The path to wealth isn't just strategy, it's self-image. Because the version of you who creates abundance must first be claimed in the mind. Once you believe it fully, the world begins to follow. As you move further along the path of financial freedom, a new challenge begins to emerge, one that few people talk about, but every high-level performer experiences: distraction and dilution. This session focuses on a critical millionaire habit that protects long-term success: focused execution. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't fail because of lack of talent or opportunity. They fail because they chase too many things too fast, with too little focus. Millionaire thinkers understand that wealth is not just created by doing more, it's created by doing fewer things exceptionally well, over and over again. They don't get seduced by every shiny object. They don't change their goals every month. They build momentum by building focus, a rare and powerful form of discipline in today's world. Let's explore how they do it. 1. They protect their focus like a fortress. Time management is important, but focus management is vital. Wealthy individuals structure their environment, habits, and schedules around protecting deep focus. They're not just busy, they're strategic. They don't let urgent distractions hijack their most productive hours. They know that clarity plus attention time is the formula for extraordinary results. To protect their focus, they time block their most important tasks. Turn off notifications, delegate or eliminate low-value work, set clear priorities for the day, week, and quarter, build work environments that minimize temptation. They know that if they lose focus for a day, they lose progress. If they lose it for a month, they lose momentum. And if they lose it for a year, they lose their edge. In the world of wealth building, focus is a superpower. 2. They master the skill of saying no. Millionaire minds are not afraid to say no. In fact, they say it often, not because they're closed-minded, but because they've learned that every yes is also a no to something else, usually something more important. They say no to projects that don't align with their vision, meetings without clear purpose, partnerships without shared values, opportunities that offer money but cost peace or time, distractions that dilute their mastery. This isn't arrogance, it's clarity, because they know that average results often come from too many good ideas, not too few, and that real wealth is built when you go deep, not wide. They choose to go all in on the right opportunities instead of scattering their energy across dozens of distractions. 3. They focus on one major goal at a time. Most people try to achieve 5 goals at once: grow a business, lose weight, master a skill, fix their schedule, and reinvent their identity, all in the same month. Millionaire thinkers take a different approach: one big move at a time, relentlessly, until it's complete. They break down their vision into strategic quarters or seasons. This quarter is for building the sales system. This quarter is for hiring and team building. That level of focus creates momentum, and momentum compounds faster than multitasking. You can do anything, but not everything at once. Choosing one big priority per season allows you to win fully, instead of halfway. 4. They build rituals that lock in focus. Focus doesn't happen by accident. It's built into the routine. Millionaire minds rely on rituals to enter high-performance states. These are consistent behaviors that signal to the brain it's time to produce. Common rituals include morning planning and review, power hours with 0 distractions, listening to specific music to trigger flow, working in preset time blocks, like the Pomodoro technique, ending the day with review and reset. These rituals reduce the decision fatigue around productivity. They train the brain to work with intensity and intention. They also help maintain consistency, because when you build rituals, you don't have to rely on motivation. You just follow the system, and the system produces results. 5. They treat focus as a long-term asset. Most people treat focus as a short-term hustle tool. Millionaire minds treat it like a lifelong edge. They know that the person who can work deeply for long stretches of time, resist distraction for years, not just weeks, say no to shortcuts in order to master their craft, will always outperform the person chasing every trend or shortcut. They invest in sharpening this skill over time, like an athlete who trains for years to win minutes on the field. They don't just focus when things are urgent. They make focus a part of who they are, because the world rewards those who can go deep, and wealth is reserved for those who can stay the course when others get bored or distracted. Focus is the hidden accelerator of wealth. As you refine your mindset and build the mental habits of the wealthy, let this be one of your anchors. I protect my focus as fiercely as I protect my time. I say no to distraction so I can say yes to mastery. I move in seasons with clarity and depth. I build rituals that multiply my energy and output. My focus is a long-term asset, and I invest in it daily. You don't need to do everything. You need to do the right thing, with full presence, long enough for it to transform your life. That's what millionaire minds do, and now, so will you. As we arrive at the final stage of this journey, it's time to connect everything we've explored: discipline, vision, consistency, focus, resilience, identity, and strategic action into one final, foundational mental habit: legacy thinking. The millionaire mindset isn't just about how much you can earn. It's about what you build that lasts. It's about who you become, what you stand for, and what you leave behind. This is the long game, and those who win it are those who think beyond themselves. In this final session, we explore how wealthy individuals create impact, influence, and freedom that extends beyond money. Because true wealth isn't just measured in bank accounts, it's measured in value, vision, and how many lives you elevate along the way. They think in decades, not just days. Millionaire thinkers plan their lives in long arcs. They are deeply connected to their future. They know that every action, every choice, every dollar spent or invested is part of a larger picture. They don't make decisions based on temporary emotions or short-term wins. They ask, will this move still matter in 5 years? Does this align with the long-term life I'm building? How will this decision affect the future me, my family, my business, or my community? This future-focused lens gives them patience. It also gives them power, because when your life has a bigger timeline, you stop reacting to noise and start building with clarity. You become intentional with your time, your energy, your habits, and your relationships. Millionaire minds do not chase trends. They build legacies. 2. They create value beyond themselves. The most successful people aren't just focused on what they get, they're focused on what they give. They build businesses that solve problems. They mentor others. They create products, books, systems, and services that continue to help people long after they've stepped away. This is how wealth expands, by creating value that outlives you. Ask yourself, what can I create that keeps giving even when I'm not present? How can I pass down knowledge, systems, or principles to others? What impact do I want to leave in my work, my family, or my industry? Millionaire thinkers know that the greatest return comes from the lives they touch, not just the money they earn. Your wealth becomes powerful when it becomes useful to others. 3. They engineer financial freedom by design. True wealth is not about excess. It's about freedom. The ability to choose how you spend your time, where you place your energy, and what you create without desperation or dependence. Millionaire minds don't chase a random number in their bank account. They define what freedom means to them, and then design their life and income around that. They ask, what does freedom look like to me? How much do I actually need to live and give at my highest level? What systems must I put in place to earn income without constant effort? They invest in assets that generate ongoing value. They build careers or businesses that can thrive without burning them out. They think like owners, not just earners, because it's not about having money. It's about being free. Free to think, free to rest, free to serve, free to grow. 4. They mentor, multiply, and model excellence. Legacy thinking means lifting others as you rise. Millionaire thinkers don't hoard wisdom. They multiply it. They mentor rising leaders. They model what is possible. They teach by example, with how they speak, decide, lead, and behave under pressure. They know that leadership is not a title, it's a responsibility. You don't need to be rich to start doing this. You just need to live with integrity, to share what you're learning, to help someone who's 1 or 2 steps behind you. Every habit you build becomes a blueprint for someone else. Every boundary you set becomes a lesson in self-worth. Every goal you achieve becomes a model of what's possible. Your life is already a message. The question is, what is it teaching? 5. They live as stewards, not just consumers. Wealthy individuals don't see money as a trophy. They see it as a tool. They know that money is meant to move, to grow, to support, to empower, to heal, to build. They manage it with wisdom, not ego. They budget, invest, and give with purpose. They view their wealth not just as personal success, but as a resource they've been entrusted with. This mindset turns financial success into sustainable, responsible influence. They create foundations. They fund causes. They help family. They elevate communities. But most importantly, they teach the mindset that got them there, so others can do the same. They know, my life is not just about what I accumulate, it's about what I activate. Your final mental habit, think in legacy. Everything we've built in this audiobook leads here. Discipline, consistency, resilience, focus, high standards, self-image, leverage. All of these are bricks in the construction of your future. Now it's time to take ownership, not just of your potential, but of your purpose. Say to yourself, I am a builder of wealth that matters. I create value that lasts beyond me. I lead myself so I can lead others. I protect my freedom and use it to lift others higher. I think in decades. I live with purpose. I build for impact. Your legacy begins now, not someday. Every choice you make today becomes part of what you leave behind tomorrow. Thank you for taking this journey. Let this not be the end but the start of a new level of thinking, living, and leading. The millionaire mindset is not about luck or privilege. It's about principles, and those are available to everyone, especially you. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and never forget you are not just building wealth, you are building a legacy.